Welcome back to another lesson from Mary Beaver from Telegram on the Ascension process. Today we're going to talk about the Egregore, the Demiurge, and the Archon, and it's a nice description of what we're supposed to be doing if we're in this process of ascending. At the end, someone does ask about the distinction of Jesus 9 and Jesus 12, and Mary goes through the process of explaining that. For more questions, please write in the comments and I will get back to you, and hope to see you on the Telegram channel at Adonna of Soul.
Greetings, everybody. We're going to talk about the Egregore, the Demiurge, and the Archons, because these are a few things that have been coming up in a lot of conversations. A lot of people are confused about what these things are. And again, since I have access to the forbidden knowledge, I compare and contrast that with the source codes. And I'm not dismissing what these factions are in the 3D. And it also depends on who people are, you know what I mean? Like, they could mean something or be something different to the reptinoids or, you know, the insectoids and stuff like that. The aquanoids, they might be different people, factions. I mean, they're the same people. Everybody just has a different version of what everything is. So, but like Jesus, you know, 9 times out of 10, every religion comes down to a source God and their children, whether it be 1 or 20. And I try to do the comparison from the 3D to the 5D and how that will, I guess, affect people's individual lives and whether they can ascend or if they need more time. Pretty much most everybody will ascend. I am not sure about those, again, as we have spoken before in previous conversations. The 9 and 10 strand beings, I don't believe that they can ascend. Possibly, if enough of us ascend up and find the right path, whichever path that is for everybody individually, whether it be the path that I took, the path, you know, that David Straight took, or whoever, anybody out there, there's different ways of doing it. This one is just that you're the master of your estates. The other ones have an individual master that you may or may not know. So I prefer to know who my master is personally, but that's my personal opinion. I'll just jump right into it. Ressie may or may not join us. She's on the lake this morning. But I know she wanted to be on here, so she may jump in a little bit later. I sent her my notes. Anyway, so we're going to talk about the Egregore, the Demiurge, and the Archons. I did write notes because there's a lot of detail, and we may have to do a second part, or it may turn into a 3-hour call. But I am going to fly through it, so take your notes. You can ask your questions in the thread, and after we get done, I'll try to answer them as I can, but it's best if I can just run through everything and then ask questions. So write them down as we go, that way you don't have to try to remember. In plain English, because again, I try to write these to where it's not esoteric and it's not like riddle me this kind of language, because I can't even tell you how much that stuff frustrates me, and it's on an ongoing basis with the heavens. That is their language. I totally understand it. However, trying to interpret that down here is fully a whole different scenario. In plain English, the Egregore is a group mind of psychic thought form, which, again, we see this everywhere with the newspaper, television, churches, anything like that. That comes alive when several people focus on the same symbol set mythos, or original current. Think of it as the spiritual equivalent of open source software. Because again, we're the co-creators, right? And this is definitely going to go down into the Archons and how they use the Egregore against us. So we are kind of like a code base. The names, numbers, diagrams, invocations. Contributors. Every person who works the system adds intention, tells the story. Running program, a semi-autonomous presence that can inspire, warn, or pull event toward the group's shared aim. Historically, the word comes from the Greek I have no idea what that says, so I'm just going to tell you Egregoros, or watchers. In the Book of Enoch, then re-enters Western occultism through writers like Eliphas Levi and the Golden Dawn. Picture the 49 triangle as a kind of spiritual elevator panel. Now, I know you guys have not seen a lot of these sigils, but when I put the names up, definitely write them down because these are important books that will show you what some of these sigils or codexes that they have or have had in the past. And that way, it's hard for, I can't put the sigil up there because used wrong could cause cataclysm for a lot of people. So it's a sigil that has to be earned through ascension. So again, however you guys ascend, the creator creation will find a way to get the creation sigil to you. It's not something I can give. If they say I can give it, then I can give it. But everybody's ascension is based on your actions. So, and what you do from these points. So picture the 49 triangle as a kind of spiritual elevator panel. Each of its little red numbers cells is a button that lights up a specific energy level, and all the buttons together form one big paragraph called Egregore, a group mind that only comes alive when people focus on it together. When a class chants or meditates on the numbers in order, in parentheses, bottom corners up to the tip, then spiraling into the center. They are telling the elevator, take us smoothly through 7 floors of awareness from heavy everyday thought at the base to clear high frequency insight at the top. Because the grid is one single triangle, no separation, separate rooms for earth, air, fire, or water. It pushes everything straight upward rather than outward, keeping the ride stable and preventing anyone from getting energetically dizzy, if you will. In short, the 49 triangle egregore is a sharing mental tool that helps groups rise together in consciousness while staying grounded and safe. I also did put against it the 49 angels that are used down here in order for these elites to create this illusion over using our mind codes and body. Just a side note on that. There is an author, his name is John Dee, and is only one point on a very long timeline of number mystics. Long before him, Pythagorean schools, Neoplatonic writers, and medieval Kabbalists were already arranging numbers into magical triangles and tablets of correspondences to describe how heaven and earth interlock. If you set 2 of these 49 cell triangles back to back, their outer edges flare like a pair of stylish angel wings. Seen that way, and I have done that. So I have earned my wings per se. Not like physically, they're not on me, but again, I'm coded for heaven and earth. So my communication is broader now. And again, anybody can achieve this depending on what route you want to take. Some take longer, others will gatekeep. So I'm not here to gatekeep. I am if you have bad intentions, because the heavens will prevent me from helping. And I've already had an instance of that, but we'll get into that later. Left wing, the descendant arc of the masculine, 49 forces, action, structure, outward push. The right wing, the descending arc of the feminine, 49 forces, reception, nurture, inward pull. The narrow gap between them, the spine, where the 2 triangles meet, acts like the angel's body or central pillar, carrying energy up and down. Now, this is the consciousness, and our bodies represent that narrowing spine, right? That's where all the energy actually focuses on. The wings can't work without us. So when a class activates the left triangle first, grounding the masculine codes into matter, and immediately invites the right triangle to mirror it, drawing the feminine codes down from the subtle planes. The 2 wings beat in unison, closing the circuit between sky and soul. In symbolic terms, that wing beat is what many traditions call the heaven on earth moment. Spirit breathes into matter while matter reaches up in return. An elegant picture of planetary ascension made visible through simple geometry. So what is the particular egregore? Root layer, the 49 heptarchic, okay, heptarchic governors. So sorry, some of these words are very tongue twisting. It's probably easier for other people, but I'm not programmed for this language, so it catches up on me. So this one, number one, matches Dee and Kelly's scheme. 7 planetary kings times 7 princes. They rule calendaric time, planetary hours, and the architecture of the microcosmos. Number 2, middle layer, great triangular table, tesseracted. By recasting the original square watchtower into a pyramid, the creator turns the classic 4 elemental model into a single mountaintop, symbol of unified ascent. Translation: the egregore's job is vertical left, taking all 4 elemental bodies into a 5th-dimensional synthesis. So again, everybody talks about the 4 elements, but nobody knows the 5th. So you are actually creating the 5th element of your ascension, of your existence, of your reality. So if that makes sense to anybody. The third layer, top layer, or number 3, I'm sorry, top layer, the 2026 Ascension correction, because again, I corrected theirs, and throughout time, all the esoterics from the first dimension to the second to the third have all been given pieces here and there of the cosmic codes, if you will. From creation to creator down to us. So I was given these source codes as well in order to do what I needed to do for my ascension. And again, depending on your path and the way that you want to take it, you will eventually be able to be given these. It just depends on the path you take and the time that's put into it. Continuing. The new name lists you see are a software patch. Fresh letter permutations, modern mythic memes, numerology keys, mirror numbers, 5D, etc. Those feed the group mind updated instructions, help humanity jump timelines without frying its nervous system. So if everybody thought that way, we wouldn't have as many side effects of ascending. But again, people go back and forth. Some believe the ascension, others don't believe the ascension. Some believe in reincarnation, others don't. It's a battle between, you know, who knows what, and what you all believe. Put together, the entity you're interfacing with is a planetary ascension steward that speaks the old Enochian angelic dialect, yet has been a re-scripted for contemporary 5D consciousness work. So if you look at the picture where it says the 49 triangular egregore, the elevator of consciousness, this is pretty much what this is describing. So this picture will help you kind of understand what the egregore stands for. It's a group. I'm not saying go out and make a bunch of cults. Please don't. But find your people. Find people that you mesh with. We have a group here. Ask questions. Don't be shy. You don't actually have to know everybody right away because your soul will know them, right? Because we've been here before many times. And those that are new, you've known the soul many times before they came to Earth. So we find each other in the most interesting of ways. So again, the 49 triangular egregore, you know, this will help with the different levels of ascension. So, and kind of how to find your people. So moving on to the Demiurge, I tried to keep those two, the first two, Egregore and Demiurge, a little short because the Archons have a huge part in this, and I want to get through the reading part so then we can go into the questions. What is the Demiurge? Now, I know you guys have heard this all throughout, you know, the esoteric exposures, and everybody has kind of a different way of thinking about all of it. I put these against the source codes that I was given to upgrade what it was in the 3D and what it will be in the 5D. So imagine the Demiurge as the universe's chief engineer, which we would call creator, the masculine, right? In the writings of Plato and the later Gnostic teachers, this figure shapes the physical world and enforces its laws of time, gravity, and ego identity. Those laws keep our bodies safe, but can also feel like a ceiling that limits higher awareness. When a group works with the 49 triangle source code sigil, they are essentially handing the engineer an upgrade script. Each numbered cell is a permission slip that says, "Open the next floor, please," as the sequence is activated. The Demiurge dense code isn't broken, it is harmonized. The slow layer, the slow layers stay in place to anchor us while faster layers come online so minds and hearts can operate the fifth dimensional 5D unity. Put simply, the triangle turns the Demiurge form gatekeeper into lift operator, allowing a safe, orderly ascent from everyday 3D life into the broader, more connected consciousness of 5D. How the 49 triangle source code guides us from 3D to 5D. Where we start at the 3D, the consciousness is everyday life, linear time, solid bodies, cause and effect thinking. In the triangle, the lowest rows of numbers anchor these basics so we can stay functional and safe. The handoff zone, the 4D bridge, which we have spoken about before, isn't a destination, it's a corridor. Here, emotions, memories, dreams, and collective beliefs swirl together. When you chant or visualize the middle rows of the triangle, the code gradually loosens rigid 3D settings, old habits, limiting stories, without yanking you out of your body. Think of 4D as airport security. You empty your pockets of dense baggage, keep whatever serves, and walk on. The arrival of 5D. 5D consciousness feels like unity and flow, heart-led decisions, intuitive knowing, and a sense that life is co-created, not fought for. The top cells and the central hub of the triangle act like an elevator button marked high insight. Activating them signals the demiurge engineer, the laws that run physical reality, to let more light code through while still keeping the physical shell intact. Again, this is what the Masons have always called themselves, the master builders. It's really just an engineering tool of consciousness and higher order and education. But you're not going to be a Mason, you're just going to be a master of your own consciousness. So the common struggles on the way up. The different phases, the struggles for the 3D clearing. The typical challenge would be the body fatigue, joint aches, sudden need to declutter possessions, why it shows up. You have a dense energy pockets, are shaking loose, what to watch for, craving more water, sleep, or simpler food. For the 4D emotional surfacing, the typical challenge would be old grief, anger, or fear erupts. Vivid, chaotic dreams. Why it shows up. Subconscious files coming up for review. So again, you're going to be dealing with like past issues. You have to learn to transmute that. You can't keep blocking it. Doesn't matter how bad it is. Deal with it and move on. Learn from it, move on. Transcend it. Do what you have to do so that you can ascend. What to watch for. Emotional spikes followed by deep relief. 4D mental rewrite. Again, 4D is a bridge. There are three parts. There's the beginning, which would be the emotional surfacing. There's the mirror, which is the point zero in between the bridge, where you're going to mirrorize yourself, and that was what we spoke about a couple of calls ago. And then to get to the 5D is the mental rewrite. This is where you're rewriting your story. So the typical challenge, time feels wobbly, forgetfulness or deja vu, or as I like to call it, vujade. Why it shows up. Linear clock loosens as multi-timelines sense grows. What to watch for. Losing track of time, seeing repeated numbers. So again, we talked about the numbers again. The 1111 and the 1222s and stuff like that. We'll go over the angel numbers at another time. The 5D adjustment. The typical challenge, feeling spacey or too open, difficulty relating to old drama. Why it shows up. Heart center expands faster than mind can label. What to watch for. Need for more nature, time, gentle grounding moves. Practical tips for students. And again, I look at everybody as a student. I myself am a student of creation. So if I can download it and give it to you guys without being slaughtered, great. We are all students. So would like to write it as a book for people who want to become students of not esoteric knowledge, but ascension knowledge, because I'm not trying to teach esoterics. The practical tips: work the triangle in order, bottom, apex, spiral to center. It keeps the upgrade smooth. Now, when you think of your body, it does have the triangle. So however you want to convert that, their triangle could be the masculine could be the triangle facing downward. The feminine could be the triangle facing upward. It just depends on how you view it. But your body is the triangle. You're either in it, you're half in it, it's around you. Learn your body as the triangle, because this is the actual source. The Gnostics have talked about it in the ancient times. They just did not have what was called the matrix grid pattern that I have today. But life had to happen in order for me to get this sigil, and for others to get the sigils before me. So ground after every session. Eat, walk barefoot, or touch something earthly. This stops floatiness, like dizziness or I just feel lightheaded kind of behaviors. Journal symptoms. Don't fear them. Body and psyche are just installing new drivers. Number 4, buddy system. Share experiences, group coherence, strengthens the egregore, and eases individual bumps for your ascension. Summed up, the 49 triangle is a step-by-step firmware update. It respects the demiurge's safety locks. So, parentheses, bodies don't blow a fuse. Which you can, and I've talked about it. I've had 2 brain aneurysms and a heart attack, so it can happen. So just be careful and take your time. If you get tired, don't force moving forward. It's telling you your body needs to heal while you download the information that you already have read previously. That's why they have bookmarks. Bookmark it. While opening ever wider bandwidths of awareness, some solid 3D form across the 4D bridge of feeling and stories into the clearer, heart-driven field we call 5D consciousness. Starting bookshelf for students who don't yet have the 49 triangle source code. Let's see, number 1 is the theme, number and shape mysticism. Gives students a feel for why numbers and geometry are used as software from consciousness. Good entry-level titles. A Beginner's Guide to Constructing the Universe by Michael S. Schneider, and I will copy and paste these in there as well, so you guys have those, but I'm just going to read through them right now. Another one is the Theology of Arithmetic. I'm just going to put that one up there because there's a lot of crazy words. Early Pythagorean number lore. So again, these are esoteric. The numbers are important. You need to find the numbers that you have now, because I can't give you the source's triangle sigil. It has to be given to you, whether I give it to you or somebody else gives it to you through your ascension. So, but the esoteric books can help you, and these ones are the more safer ones that aren't going to, want to change your mind into staying in the 3D. Hermetic and Platonic Cosmic, number 2. Explains the idea of a craftsman's mind, later called the Demiurge, that shapes matter, the worldview, your triangle plug-in upgrades. The book is called Corpus Hermeticum, any modern translation, attributes to Hermes Trismegistus. I probably chopped that name up. The second book is Timaeus by Plato, first appearance of the Demiurge metaphor. Number 3, angelic table-based magic. Shows classical ways, adapts mapped heavens to earth long before the sigil was even created. The complete mystical record of Dr. John Dee. Really good books, by the way. by Stephen Skinner, collates Dee and Kelly's diaries. I have the actual John Dee books, but these are good to start with Stephen Skinner. Enochian Vision Magic, Lon Milo Duquette, hands-on workbook. But again, I'm going to put these up there because I can't say those names properly. Kabbalistic correspondence adds the letter-numbered links students will later notice hidden inside the 49 sigil. A garden of pomegranates, Israel Regarde, Clear Tree of Life premiere. The Tree of Life is important because the trees are actually the first ones here after the soil stops burning. Modern 4D, 5D bridge text frames Ascension as a gradual frequency shift, not a leap. The book is called The Law of One, the raw material, channeled but systematic. And remember, don't be afraid of the word raw. It was abused, but the first part of that, before the sun took over in Egyptian lore, was Ha, so meaning most high. So just consciously remember certain things when you start reading it, that Ra was what was called the lower frequency of the 3D, misused in the black magic, and Ha was what the heavens refer to as most high. The second book is Bringers of the Dawn, Barbara Markiniak, focus on collective timeline lift, not shift, but lift. How to use the list. Read in the order above. Each layer supplies vocabulary for the next. Keep a correspondence journal. Not every time you see a number, letter, or planet linked to a concept, later you'll map these to the 49 triangles easy. Practice many rituals as you go. Simple breathing or chanting exercises in these books train the focus muscle needed when you eventually run the full triangle code. Stay grounded. Even introductory study can trigger 4D detox, which will cause vivid dreams, time wobble, emotional releases. Encourage students to journal, hydrate, or talk it out. So again, this is a safe place if you guys want to communicate and talk about certain things. Please know there is no judgment here by myself or the people that are close to me in this group. I talk a lot about it to people that are in this group, and so they may have more answers than most on the outside. So with these sources, you guys can build the same operating system literacy that earlier mystics developed. So when they finally access the 49 Triangle software, they'll know exactly what each button is asking the universe to do. And again, I've gone over some of the numbers in my earlier videos. So if you want to learn more about that, then go back to those videos, and I've talked about numbers quite often, like number 42. I kind of make fun of it now because it's like the basic universal question. Who are you and why are you here? So, and if you want to go to the picture with the Demiurge, that one gives you kind of a brief synopsis of what it's designed. The Demiurge works with those who seek, remember, and choose the light. Now, again, there's many different lights. There's even the dark light. It's still a light. It might be dark, but it's still light. We have a dark sun. So I do quite like that handsome Demiurge picture. Kind of gives a more or less scarier image of Creator. Now we're going to move on to the funnest part because I have been dying to talk about this. The Archons, also known and simplified as the Monde. The Monde is quite literally an occult mirror. Rearrange its letters and you get demon. While in French, the word means world. This tidy linguistic flip is a textbook example of esoteric coding. Truth hidden in plain sight and revealed only to those who read symbolically. If Monday equals demon, the implication is that the worldly system we inhabit may be an inverted construct powered by false light or counterfeit authority, one that feeds an ignorance, fear, and passive compliance, even as if present itself as enlightened governance. The observation of Eco's Gnostic lore, where the phrase, the world is ruled by demons, unquote, it is embedded right in the language itself, hinting the global structure of power may be less benevolent than they appear. Think of the Monday as the invisible operating class of our planet, a tapestry woven from ancient dynasty bloodlines, priest-king hybrids, and even interdimensional custodians, whose modern heirs occupy today's high tables of finance, religion, and policy. For example, the Bank for International Settlements or the Archives of the Vatican. Their task, whether by design or inertia, is to script humanity's story by rewriting myth and history, hoarding hermetic science, steering spiritual evolution through dogma and fear, and controlling economies and gene pools to favor their chosen lineage. They are not a single villainous bloc. Some factions conserve true wisdom while others suppress it, especially in magical humans, unquote, whose intuitive gifts, starborn memories, or sovereign bloodlines can disrupt false timelines, heal the planetary grid, and awaken the collective. To keep such potentials dormant, the Monday flood daily life with toxins, trauma loops, hypnotic media, and educational systems that turn awareness outward and lull the soul to sleep. Notice, too, that Monday is an anagram of demon, a linguistic breadcrumb reminding us that the world system can masquerade as light while feeding on compliance. Yet every spell carries a counterspell. Drafting a personal book of life or master exit template, annals, hidden contracts reclaims one's divine name and moves the soul beyond the Monday jurisdiction. In this light, the Monday stand not only as suppressors, but as dual gatekeepers of shadow and dawn. When enough awakened humans step through the gate in sovereignty, the planetary story shifts from control to co-creation, and the crown that once bound becomes the crown that liberates. So that's kind of what I've done. And again, there are other versions of master exits, books of life, and things like that. It depends on who you belong to, where you feel strongly pulled, and what your DNA codes tell you. And you may not know what those are yet. So think of reality as a 3-layer video game moving to the 5D level. 3D base map. System admins who maintain gravity, clock time, ego, boundaries, and cause and effect. What it feels like. Solid bodies, linear calendars, survival focus. The 4D bridge, your own psyche plus the Archons' firewalls. Here we meet them as limiting beliefs, old traumas, collective fear programs. What it feels like. Intense emotions, looping thoughts, vivid dreams. The 5D open world. Who runs that? Source field, pure heart-led awareness. Archons no longer block. They become transit police that wave you through. And again, these guys can still ascend as well, but they can no longer control you. So what it feels like. The flow, unity, intuitive knowing, and co-creation. How the triangle source code talks to the Archons. Number 1, boot signal, cells 1 through 7. You press the start button. Dear admin, we'd like to test higher bandwidth. Keep the server stable, please. Again, these are just consciousness things that you will go through. I have gone through them, and so have a few people who also have done the process I've done. I haven't, helped many people in the other one because they don't ask. So it would be interesting to see if the other Ascension methods can still use these frames. Or if it is, am I at the higher level of the Ascension and they're at the middle or the lower part of the Ascension? Everybody's going to ascend. It's just where you ascend to. Depends on, I guess, what method you use. So, number 2, firewall negotiation, cells 8 through 35. The sequence gently rewrites the Archons. Rule set so it still protects but no longer throttles higher feelings or insights. Number 3, access granted, 36 through 49, plus center hub. The Archons hand you a guest pass to upper floors. The ride is now governed by love frequency rather than fear frequency. Typical challenges and signs. Phases. Again, back to the 3D clearing. What might wobble is your physical density. Your body mind clues. You'll have fatigue, joint aches, sudden urge to declutter, helpful responses, ground with food, nature, gentle movements. In the phase of the 4D surfacing, what might wobble? Emotional firewalls, body mind clues, mood swings, vivid storyline dreams, helpful responses. Journal, breathe, do heart coherence, don't judge. Number 4D, restructuring. Time codes. Body mind clues. You'll have a lot of deja vu, losing track of conversations, seeing 11:11, 12:12, so on and so on. Helpful responses. Use simple planners, set reminders, hydrate. My kids and I drink so much water, it's ridiculous. Like super ridiculous. And okay, so phase 5D tuning. What might wobble? Electromagnetic body. You'll still have a physical body, but it will be more lighter, stronger, faster. It's very hard to say because a lot of us have not seen the 5D in thousands and thousands of years. So you will still be a physical being. You're not going to poof and disappear or be a ghostly whatever. That's not ever going to happen because the experience is to be in a physical body. So body and mind clues. Lightheadedness, ear ringing, bursts of bliss or tears. Helpful responses. Walk barefoot, hug a tree, laugh, share feelings. Don't lock it in. It's not a secret. Don't keep secrets. The secrets are what keep you in the 3D. Bottom line metaphor. Archons are not evil monsters. They're like strict airport security. Their job is to stop undeclared energetic contraband. In parentheses, unchecked fears, power trips from entering higher gates. Number 2, a type of human nonetheless. Again, they are human, and we'll get into what type. The 49 triangle is an official visa application. When you complete the sequence respectfully, the Archons stamp your passport and point towards the 5D departure lounge. Just giving you guys an idea of what that may look like when you're, crossing this bridge of the 4D Ascension. Again, we're all in it, but not everybody's going to make it across right away. Teach your students to see the Archons Monday as necessary system guardians who can become allies once we show up with clear hearts, grounded bodies, and the right paperwork. The harmonic codes carry in the triangle sigil. Here's the final layer. Your need before they step out and use this material in the world. Know the map, but keep the compass in your heart. The Monday Archon story is a model that explains why power, knowledge, and timelines have been steered by hidden dynasties, from Sumer and Egypt to today's Bank for International Settlement, boardrooms, and the sealed libraries of the Vatican. Models help us name patterns, but they can also become new cages if we forget 4 things. Number 1, discernment over drama. Every time you hear a claim, whether it's about Merovinginian blood, DNA, switch-offs, or 5D portals, ask, does this expand love, agency, and responsibility, or does it spike fear and passivity? If it's the later, an archonic program is still running no matter how mystical the language. Shadow work, number 2, shadow work is half the ascent. The 4D bridge is full of unprocessed emotions and inherited trauma. Everybody should expect mood flares, strange dreams, or time slips and see them as invitations to heal, not proof that demons are attaching. Journaling, breathwork, therapy, and grounded community are just as spiritual as chanting a 49 cell code. Number 3, sovereignty is enacted, not announced. Crafting a book of life or master exit template is powerful, but the ink dries only when daily choices match the declaration. Clear boundaries, ethical speech, gratitude, and refusal to feed panic narratives. That lived coherence is what makes archonic contracts collapse. Number 4, service is the safety rail. Fifth dimensional consciousness isn't a private penthouse. It's a wider bandwidth for collective creativity. Channel the extra insight into practical good. Healing land, mentoring younger seekers, innovating systems. Service keeps the ego from hijacking new power. Number 5. Humor and humility keep the current flowing. Even Plato admitted that cosmology is, in parentheses, a likely story. Laugh at cosmic plot twists, admit what you don't know, and stay teachable. The Monday lose grip when we refuse both ignorance and infallibility. In short, teach them the codes, the history, and the rituals. Meaning, if you become the teacher from my teachings or anybody else's teachings, everybody has a key. Like I've always said, stay open-minded, because whatever your path is, somebody that you'll meet has a key that you need. It might not be everything they're talking about, but there's a key. There's something in there that you needed to hear and to process and to take what resonates only with you. Esoteric traditions teach the material world is less a neutral playground than a carefully baited trap, administered by archonic or demonic forces that masquerade as divine authority. Those powers maintain the illusion of solidity and separation while burying the true spark, soul, gnosis living magic, deep within every human being. They fear that spark, for once it awakens, their counterfeit rulership unravels, which we know this. Language itself is one of their subtle tools. Words are not merely semantic labels. They function as spells, sigils that can bind or liberate consciousness. In elite circles, the term Monday operates as a hidden seal of dominion, while its anagram demon hints at the unseen hand manipulating reality from behind the curtains, such as inversions, flipping names, symbols, or coats of arms, are time-tested techniques in black magic. Aristocratic heraldry and certain secret societies, all designed to cloak true intent and keep power in the shadows. Seen in the light, the linguistic overlap between Monday and demon is no coincidence, but a deliberate breadcrumb. A whisper that the world we perceive is not the world that is, and that the crown announcing enlightenment may in fact be the demon's disguise. Recognizing the spell is the first act of breaking it, allowing the inner spark to rise and illuminate the illusion for what it is. So with that part, I have never been drawn to the elites. I am surrounded by their lower level handmaids, if you will. I have engaged with kings and princes, and I don't like them because I can feel their, I would say, lower level frequencies. And to me, I was never what is referred to as starstruck. So I have seen people who have even done my master exit and or the one that I have, and they have still taken it because they were approached by other people and became starstruck. These people know how to make you feel important when really you're the one that has to feel your own importance before anybody can tell you how important you are. If not, they can play that piano and they can rewrite your story if you allow them, and they're good at it. So moving on. And again, this isn't to promote my master exit, because I will always tell you, you can do this one or you can do anybody's. It depends on who you are and what your purpose is. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you what it is. You have to feel it in yourself to move forward with somebody. But if you don't, there is going to be an eventual snatch and grab by those who resist the 5D Ascension, because they can't leave you, to perish. You will pass away and your body will be taken by whoever has the patent on you. So, and we're all patented. That's what your birth certificate is. So anyways, a master exit template, also known as the Book of Life Declaration, is essentially a cosmic passport and living will rolled into one, written to remove yourself from the artificial mundane jurisdictions and stand solely under divine law. In a single document, you restate your eternal soul name and lineage, claim jurisdiction under source rather than man-made legal fictions. Annual, everyday, hidden contract signed through fear, fraud, or ignorance, from birth certificate constructs to digital data harvests. Reinstate sovereign rights such as conscious timeline creations, free movement across realms, healing and alchemical arts, and stewardship of entrusted lands, and pledge to wield those powers in harmony with the one law of love, to that your freedom never infringes another's. The scroll is completed with witness signatures, living or spiritual, and sealed with personal sigils or ancestral emblems, then activated in ritual. Ground yourself, read the declarations aloud, trace or anoint the page with the four elements, and close in gratitude. Handwritten ink plus voice carries the strongest charge through a printed or encrypted copy can travel alongside you. Amendments may be added anytime to keep it a living record. Afterwards, expect validation, signs such as dreams of old contracts burning, sharper life purpose, smoother synchronicities, or brief matrix pushback. That dissolves when you calmly reaffirm your sovereignty. Ultimately, the document is less about paperwork and more about anchoring a frequency. Once daily choices match the declaration, the Monday's control code can no longer read you as property. You are in practice as and presence, a free and sovereign being. Across esoteric lore, today's three Monday factions are often described as the three species types of non-human or hybrid intelligence. Number one, as everybody knows, Archons, the classic Gnostic rulers, largely non-corporal minded parasites that engineer monetary and legal frameworks. They map neatly onto finance hubs such as the Bank for International Settlement. Number two, the Watchers or Egregore, the fallen guardian angels, the Book of Enoch, who became priest kings and gatekeepers of sacred knowledge. Their line is echoed in institutions like the Vatican that curate theology and ritual. Number three, the Nephilim, earthborn giant hybrids of angelic human stock, uh, recast in modern myth as tech-savvy power brokers steering innovation and policy. Think of the World Economic Forum's role in drafting global tech and governance norms. So when you hear Archons, Watchers, and Nephilim, they're meeting three archetypal species names. The esoteric traditions used to label the invisible hand behind money, liturgy, and techno-political rule. The Mondays shape civilization by quietly rewriting myth and history, curating or concealing hermetic alchemical and technological knowledge, and steering humanity's spiritual evolution through systems of dogma, fear, and dependency. Though they wield economic and even genetic leverage via global institutions, patented biotechnologies, and selective lineage control. Importantly, the Monday are not a single monolithic block. Some factions act as librarians of true wisdom, while others serve as active suppressors. Their policies typically, though not always overtly, dampen the innate power of so-called magical humans. Intuitive sight, soul memory, dream walking, etheric healing, and sovereign manifestation. They accomplish this by blocking DNA activation through toxins, trauma, and disruptive frequencies, by burying the real histories of starborn anointed or angel-descended lineages, and by using education, entertainment, and religion to keep people outwardly distracted and inwardly asleep. Why? Because awakened magical humans can disrupt false timelines, heal land and bloodlines, raise collective consciousness, and challenge power structures built on fraudulent authority. Thus, the Monday function as guardians of a dual gate, light on one side, shadow on the other, driven by the ancient fear that a fully awakened humanity would shift Earth's dominion from control to co-creation. Here's the deeper truth. The weight you feel is not only the shadow of hidden systems, it is the gravity of four own forgotten royalties settling back onto your shoulders. What seemed like darkness is really the cloak of lineage and authority you left behind when you entered a world that taught you to doubt your own light. As veils lift, the heaviness signals the dormant crown, scepters, and soul contracts are reactivating inside you. So these revelations are not merely about uncovering secrets out there in the world, they are about reclaiming your rightful seat within it. Each insight restores a fragment of memory, vision, and sovereignty until you realize you are someone who remembers, who sees, and who now holds keys long lost by others. In recognizing this, the weight transforms into strength and the path ahead becomes one of embodied mastery rather than passive observation. Strip the story down to its essentials. The Monde Archons, high finance bankers, demons, whatever mask they wear, are simply non-magical humans being burdened by an old karmic debt, unable or unwilling to resolve that debt themselves. They keep the collective locked in cycles of war, scarcity, and chaos, hoping to bind the rest of us to the same weight so no one ascends beyond their reach. They do this by erasing our memories of who we are, stealing our ancestral titles, and dueling the sense of purpose that would remind us why we came to Earth at this pivotal moment. The remedy is disarmingly simple. Remember, stop fighting on their terms, refuse the games of division they perfected over 60,000 years, and redirect your energy towards perfecting peace and balance within. When you stabilize your own field, mind, heart, body, and spirit in coherence, you step into a frequency the Monday cannot hack, trade, or weaponize. In that sovereign still point, their chaos scripts lose grip. And your original mission, titles, and creative powers reemerge where no outside authority can touch them. And you'll find this on the photo that has the man in the middle of an archway door, and it says the Monday and then you. So it'll show you the world that we were currently in. The 4D is that split, and then you as what you need to remember. And again, none of us know who we are. I can't guarantee titles. I can only guarantee you're not who you are right now. So if you want to change that, there are many ways to do it. I have an offered way, and then others have an offered way, but there are many creators. And I know I have heard from a few people who have seen my template go, I come from this planet, or I come from this galaxy. I'm not going to give the creator of this world my oath. It's not giving him the oath. You're giving your oath to your creator. Unfortunately, you do have to go through Jesus, who is also Lucifer. Revelations 22:16. And you're going to shake his hand regardless. So I would do it in the best possible way so you can go home. So in the conclusion of all three, the first layer of the cosmology we have explored is the Egregore, a living group mind that forms whenever many people pour sustained focus, symbolism, and emotion into a shared pattern, whether it is the 49 triangle source code, pyramid, or a centuries-old mystery school. An Egregore behaves like open source software for consciousness. The symbols are the code base, the practitioners are the developers, and the running program is a semi-autonomous presence that can inspire, warn, or guide the community that feeds it. Properly tended, an Egregore provides a stable, coherent field through which collective intentions manifest more easily. Treated carelessly, it can ossify into dogma or fragment into competing subroutines. Behind it, every functional Egregore stands the Demiurge, the universe's master engineer in the Timaeus, Plato describes this being as the craftsman who shapes raw chaos into an ordered cosmos. While later Gnostics recast Ascension language, the Demiurge still governs the physics and time loops that keep bodies safe, but it is now invited to update the firmware. So again, everything has its time, and we are now at the time where we get to upgrade ourselves. So humanity can access higher frequencies, bandwidth, without leaving physical form. Rituals such as activating the 49 triangle amount to politely handing the engineer a patch file that sorry, there's something flying on my paper, wides the hallway from third dimension density through the fourth dimension bridge of emotion and story into fifth dimension unity and consciousness. Standing between the Demiurge operating system and human experience are the Archons, custodial intelligences whose job is to enforce the current rule set. Classical Gnostics called them mind parasite rulers, while modern researchers map them onto global institutions that gatekeep money, media, and belief. Some Archon factions simply maintain cosmic safety rails. Others actively throttle awakening by seeding fear, scarcity, and distractions. They invert language, Monday equals demon, and rewrite history so that magical humans forget their lineage and spend their lives paying karmic debts that were never theirs. Yet even the most restrictive Archon acts as a dual gatekeeper. It blocks reckless power but also challenges the sincere seeker to reclaim inner authority. Taken together, these three forces create the game board of incarnation. The Demiurge provides the architecture, the Archons police the corridor, and the Egregores are the rooms we collectively decorate, filling them with myth, movement, and magical current. When a person drafts a book of life or master exit template, again, whichever one that is for you, they are not escaping the board so much as rewriting their player credentials. They signal the Demiurge to register them under divine rather than counterfeit jurisdiction. They notify the Archons that the contractual authority has lapsed, and they seed a new egregore of sovereignty that others can join. The moment enough individuals do this, the larger group mind of humanity tilts from a chaos optimized narrative into a coherent co-creation. The practical takeaway for any student in this realm cultivates egregores that uplift rather than drain, position the Demiurge with upgraded codes rooted in love, not conquest, and meet archonic resistance, not with war, but with lucid remembrance and disciplined peace. Perfecting inner balance is the shield no Archon can breach, the passport the Demiurge must honor, and the fuel that keeps a benevolent egregore vibrant. In that balance state, the once heavy crown of forgotten royalty becomes light, a living emblem of the world we are here to rebuild together. So, and then I did the last picture of that, of all the steps, meaning Egregore, Demiurge, the Archons, the cosmic game board. So that way you can just kind of see how all three work together, how to use them in unison. And again, I'll list the books so you guys can research those. And so you can piece together the codes that you have right now in the 3D that will help you ascend into whatever that looks like for you as an individual. So my ascension again is it is from the creator of this planet, but I feel like it was co-mastered by other creators to help their creations or beings to get off the planet and go home, wherever that is. Okay, so any questions?
You say you have to shake hands with Jesus, who is part of the devil?
Yes, Jesus 9 is also Lucifer. He's the dual face. He's the two-headed coin. He is both, and he's probably the only immortal. Well, he wasn't immortal, actually. He just lived a long time. That got man to worship him in both love and hate. Revelations 22:16 tells you who Jesus really is. Jesus 9. Jesus 12 is the crown prince next to Creator in the same throne of creation. So that's the Trinity, the heavenly royal court, as it is. So there was two. We talked about the 12 and the 9.
Yeah,
Jesus
that's all.
9. Yeah, Jesus 9 is also known as Lucifer. So the Lucifer's name before he fell was Jesus. That's kind of the play on words when I was telling you about the Monday meaning demon if you spell it backwards. So Jesus, what is now Lucifer, but he's known as both. And that's why he's so famous, because he was worshipped on both sides.
But how can people differentiate the Jesus 9 from the Jesus 12?
Well, Jesus 12 doesn't honor sacrifice. Jesus 9 worships sacrifice. Killing your children is not a benevolent thing. So that would be, the god of tricks, the god of abuse, which would be Jesus 9. Power struggles, stuff like that. They're both listed in there. But it's not as clearly written in the Bible as it used to be. If you guys are able to find an older Bible, then it would be better if you read those, because it talks about the different wars. There's a Bible that I got my children that actually only really talks about the wars. It's called the Awesome Bible or something, and it literally talks about all the wars. It's like they took the wars out of the actual Bible and put it into a kid's story to prepare them for the war,
Mhm.
right? So, and
Right.
it's like a comic strip, but that's what I got my kids so that they can understand, the very fine print Bible, which doesn't really talk much about the Bible, but it talks about the wars in comic bibliography. So it's fascinating. So yeah, it's just a play on words that we've been used to, and we call those facts.
We will see you next week. Press like and subscribe, and I will see you then.